I'm Jason, I make comics, and I'm on a mission. Join me in my continuing journey of leveling up. Welcome comics readers, makers, and fans. My name is Jason Lapidus, and I've been making comics since 2017. In this episode, I'm taking a look at DC's Wednesday comics to see what I can learn to help me get closer to mastering the craft. Originally published in 2009 on newspaper broadsheet, now published in hardcover in 2025. Keep in mind, of course, this is not intended to be an exhaustive examination of this book or its history, but a real brief look at one or two of the elements that I think I can learn from, and hopefully you can too. And don't miss the time-lapse drawing session at the end. But before we dive in, you can support the channel by reading our books. 7 famous historical figures on a fictional mission to save the world. Group of 7, A Most Secret Tale. A team of secret agents, undercover as frontline nurses, defend against the unknown and unbelievable. Peregrines, Flights, Fiends, and Fisticuffs, both by writer Chris Sanigan and art by yours truly. Both for sale in print and digital formats on our site, groupofsevencomics.ca. There you can also subscribe to our newsletter and stay up to date on upcoming comics, appearances, and episodes. Thank you so much for your support. From this introduction by series editor Mark Chiarello, who was also art director at DC for a time, he discusses his passion for comics history through the newspaper adventure strip, but also this pitch he helped put together as a way to sell the idea of this Wednesday Comics project. You can see these are some panels from various Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale comics as well. It's fun to see. It's called Sunday Comics at the time. He's thrown together a few different art styles to show like the variety of approaches they could take to what they could include, and just mocked up a little bit here just to make it all work as this large, oversized format. So that this is just detailing the pitch that Chiarello went through to get this project off the ground. I've got the first 8 of these. There are 12 in total. I really should try and track down the rest. The reason I wanted to show both is because it is really interesting to see the color differences and the print and production differences, and how choices that we can make on a backlit monitor, a computer screen, really come out different depending on the way it's being reproduced. Some of the teams that work on the original understand extremely well how it's going to look, and some of them don't seem to. Some are saved because of this white paper, high gloss format. And it unfolds like a newspaper back in the day. And you're getting this. This is the front page of a collection of comic strips. The first one here is Batman. We get Commandy, Superman, Deadman, Green Lantern, Metamorpho, Teen Titans, Adam Strange, Supergirl, Metal Men, Wonder Woman, Sergeant Rock, Flash, Demon and Catwoman as a team, and Hawkman. And there's that front page, a back page, and an inside ad. One of the highlights of this is seeing all these different logo treatments from these creators. This is gorgeous, all put in like a red scale, like almost monochromatic. The blacks here aren't even black. It's just that really dark brown, reddish, right? Like this. Not black at all. I mean, that might be the closest. You can see how much darker that is than that. This is beautiful. And some of these are much more inspired than others. With Supergirl, we're just getting her regular logo. The Superman, we're getting his regular logo over artwork. With Metamorpho, you get the sense that maybe Mike Allred or Nate Picos, actually. It's for sure going to be Nate Picos doing that. If you know Blambot, there you go. like having a full logo treatment with this head included. Very cool. Or the Demon and Catwoman looks like it's sort of just a merge of those two logos. The Teen Titans one is right from the TV show, the cartoon. But one of the standouts for me is this beautiful Batman one, where you'll see on each page, this drawing is included. Or I love the Commandy. I mean, that's right from the original Commandy #1, like that logo. That's a version of that original logo. It's great. So we're getting Batman from Brian Azzarello and Eduardo Rizzo. And that's the series I want to focus on when we look at this today. Commandy, The Last Boy on Earth from Dave Gibbons and Ryan Sook. It looks really, really good. We've got Superman with art from Lee Bermejo. Deadman, Dave Bullock. I have not seen enough Dave Bullock drawing. This stands out for me. It's great. Green Lantern from Kurt Busiek and Joe Quinones. Metamorpho, art from Mike Allred. Teen Titans, we get art from Sean Galloway. Strange Adventures, the Adam Strange series, we're getting work from Paul Pope. So I'm not reading through everybody's name. My apologies, I don't mean to omit anybody. I'm much more art focused than story focused here. Supergirl, we get art from Amanda Connor. Metal Men, we're getting art from Jose Luis Garcia Lopez. Oh my goodness. Wonder Woman, we're getting art from Ben Caldwell. Sergeant Rock, it's Adam Kubert writing and Joe Kubert on art. The Flash, we're getting art from Carl Kerschel. The Demon Catwoman, we're getting art from Brian Stelfreeze. Hawkman, art from Kyle Baker. Holy smokes. This is very, very cool.
Since Batman is the opening comic strip in each of the Wednesday comics newsprint publications, it gets the masthead of Wednesday comics when you open it fully, thus sacrificing a fifth tier of comics for that masthead logo. Azzarello and Rizzo have accommodated that by having a four-layered or four-tiered comic strip design. The other strips in the series don't have to contend with that, and it just looks really great, actually, as a default position. But it also means that the first panel in every single installment is actually a cropped section of the art from a different panel that has been incorporated really beautifully and seamlessly, for that matter.
So let's start with Batman. Like I said, we get this intense logo treatment off the top like this. I find this to be clear in both forms. It works really well. This is not here, right? Just that little thing. So we actually get, oh, this is cool. We get this eye, not that one. It's this eye is cropped and placed in that spot. Trade dress kind of going on, or letterhead. This reminds me a lot of the colors that we get to see in The Batman, in that recent film. On a good, clear comic book page, you don't need more than one panel that shows the setting or the environment. If we're having a conversation, which the main focus of this is between Commissioner Gordon and Batman, and there's a second location where there's a character being held hostage, a kidnapped victim. But the location we need to know about is here. And Eduardo Rizzo does a great job showing us the architecture and the lighting and the mood. Batman perched on top. Very cool. This looks good in this format. But now I'm wondering if we're going to see this sort of four-tier every time. Well, let's flip the page and find out. Every week we get a new one, as if you're getting your Sunday papers, in this case Wednesday papers, because comic books come out on a Wednesday here in North America. I don't know about the rest of the world, but in Canada and the US, Wednesday is comic book day. But I love that this treatment goes across each of the pages, right? We're getting that with a unique color that goes with whatever complements the page the best. We're getting the sense from the way he's laid these pages out that we're going to get as this standard rhythm. He's also not just this page, but going back one now. See how the lines don't line up? The only clear end-to-end lines are the tiers. These stacked layers. Even here, okay, so that goes, this is almost, but not quite. And this is almost, but not quite. Again here. So this way, it guides the reader across, not up and down. Rizzo is pacing it out a certain rhythm. Like panels are a certain size. They generally are about this size. It's getting a little, a little longer here, a little shorter there. It's a quick look. As Bruce sees someone hiding behind that statue, it's a quick glance. We see him look. We get to see what he's looking at quickly. We see how he's seeing it, right? It's reflected in his glasses. And then this happens fast. So the rhythm is set up and then controlled to go faster, smaller panels as we go across. Similar thing here. These ones are quick, and we get a longer one. And then we get this one that breaks the rhythm. We can spend a little more time looking at it. We get that whole setting. Right? We just need the one panel that shows the whole location. Just the one panel. It's all we really need. We get a good mix of close-ups and half-body shots. Some other interesting things to see on the page. But overall, Eduardo Rizzo is making a choice to compose these as whole pieces. He has your attention for this. He's not just drawing one thing and then drawing one thing and drawing one thing. He's composing an entire page that is supposed to be aesthetically beautiful. As you take it in as a whole, you deconstruct this structure into its composite parts and decode it for reading. But this on its own, I think these are just beautiful pieces. In terms of the story, Batman is trying to solve a murder. Each week, you're treated to a distinct scene or set of plot events. This one takes place just at the hotel. It's Bruce having drinks with this lady. But of course, anyone who knows their Batman comics knows the language of when you see Bruce and his shadow is Batman, you know what his agenda is. New week, new scene, new location, new color palette. Candlelight, wine, electronics, and bat guano. Can you imagine what the space smells like as opposed to this space? I love the build on Batman his anatomical build for Batman is great. He's thick, broad. He's like a tank. It's awesome. His cape's not too long, actually, or maybe just because of the way he's walking. I love seeing different artists do the Batcave in some form. Dark Knight Returns, the tank. So good. And there you go. Maybe the superpowers looks kind of like that. More so than the Batman 66. These are great. I love seeing all the different Batmobiles. So again, we have all these rhythms. Now we have this new location, and look at how this is arranged completely differently. So he's taught you week to week, this is how you read, this is what to expect, that's the pace, and now boom, here you are. We get the whole view here in this giant panel with a lot of overlay panels. And it's not the easiest one to figure out how to read. If you almost superimpose the grid of this on top of this, you would read across, 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 and then across. But this is kind of fun because you go here, it takes you down, then up, then down, then up. Not the easiest, but also a little bit of fun. I love this little panel too, them in silhouette in front of all the computers. Note, for anyone who thinks that there is one way to color things, look how successfully this logo treatment works in all these different color schemes. There isn't a right way for all of them. Not a single right way. It's about what works best for the specific page that we're on. Here, we got the regular rhythm, and then the action breaks it as we kind of get a focal point. Again here, this great panel to show us the location, the heights. Eduardo Rizzo does not spend time rendering out this entire building because it doesn't matter. It actually would distract. If he wants our eye to go here and then follow this down, but he draws all of this, we're going to be distracted and not follow the story. He wants us to go at this pace and then through this. So he's controlling our eye by not rendering what's back there, but put it in complete shadow except for the part we needed to see. And Batman is just the best character for silhouettes, maybe of all time. So you can clearly see he's there. The falling cigarette, the falling character, gives us information here. Just direct the eye for use of the complete black and shadow. This was the last one I had on newsprint. I don't have these ones. I got to get 9 through 12. I love how it changes color palettes. But these ones are obviously connected, right? The green to green. This is the same place. That glass reminds me of Frank Miller glass. There's lots of Frank Miller Sin City stuff in this. I mean, come on. But I think that's part of the fun. And the story comes to its climax. Great use of the open panel. As she is leaping to freedom, she is also free of the boundaries of the panel. And the conclusion, spoilers, as it comes to an end. Kamandi, the last boy on Earth. Dave Gibbons and story and Ryan Sook on the art. In this form, this looks phenomenal. I love the kind of recreation of the beginning of Kamandi's series back in the early 70s. That is a beautiful homage to Kirby's work. A way to kind of summarize, introduce us to who Kamandi is, the world that he's in. And then also putting this at the bottom. I think these guys did a great job preparing this for this version. This looks really beautiful. Like that stands out. It's gorgeous. It's not so far off, but the clarity of the costume, it gets very brown. I mean, you can see on camera. There's a lot to look at. I'm not exactly sure what my focal point is on each panel. I mean, this is just a giant brown mess other than that. So the values on Superman are not so different than the values in some of these buildings. Here it's a little clearer. Not taking away from Bermejo's skill or ability to draw, but maybe the overall vision of what works great on newsprint in 2009 wasn't executed so smoothly. Each image on its own is a really beautiful thing. I just don't know where to look. I mean, the graphic design here leads me just to this first. I wonder if this is the key moment on this panel. It definitely is the focal point of this piece of art, but I don't know if it's the key moment. How cool is that? One huge advantage that the Dead Man series gets is you have a character that is 100% red. So if you just don't put him up against red things, he pops. This is Mike Mignola Hellboy approach in a way that, you make your character that red and he'll pop up against all those browns and greens and grays. I again like the fact that there is an introduction as to who the character is. You can see the black is not nearly as black, right? As it's absorbed by that newsprint. Not as much detail or variation in the black and white values and the different color values. So it works well on newsprint. It's clear to read. And of course, shines on white. Each page looks like it's a unique design too. Teeny tiny panels. Lettering is a little smaller. And this is great and trippy. When I see panels like this or pages like this, I just want to read everything he does. Yeah, Dave Stewart on colors. There you go. No wonder I looking at this. All that Darwin Cook stuff, Hellboy stuff. So these reds are a little more vibrant, right? As everything gets absorbed up. This is a little clearer than that. That's going to be the pattern. But it looks kind of neat, the greens and purples. It just gets muddy quickly when you add the grays to it. I like this a lot. In terms of the graphic design and the letters. Looks like a really good logo. Going for a 4-tier, sacrificing just that corner each time with a logo overlay. Metamorpho by Neil Gaiman and Mike Allred. Cast of characters. This is definitely a nice retro idea. Title treatment. 1, 2, 3 tiers. But obviously this is being used. Let's see if that continues. And Mike Allred seems like the perfect choice to be working on Metamorpho. Did not expect that. There's just like a second strip along the bottom. That is wild. This is a lot of paper to handle, and this printed blurry. It's a little off register, which is kind of classic, actually. I wonder how intentional that is. I love the use of the dots up in the logo. They kept it here too. But yeah, this one feels a little off register, so it looks like it's out of focus. This is great, this idea of having this 2-page spread, which you wouldn't know unless you kept them week to week. But your characters walk through and walk and then go. That's a lot of fun. And each week there's a title sequence up in the clouds there. What's going on? Snakes and ladders. So there is something conceptual happening here. These guys are playing. Oh my goodness. This is a lot to read. I look forward to it. So with the Metamorpho series, each page really is something special unto itself. Teen Titans. So here it's so unsaturated. It almost calms things down. It's not very exciting. Galloway's figure work and, you know, his character acting and his designs are really enjoyable to look at. But the muted colors are not really working for me. I'm not sure, again, like the color should be help me focus on something, and everything is muted. That means nothing is standing out. The part that stands out is this, the word the end, or the words the end. And then, I mean, these are the only pieces that are sort of in that full saturation. Odd choice. And again, it's the lettering that's actually fully saturated. Now, Paul Pope is doing something with these colors. This is just great. That panel is awesome. Such an interesting cartoonist. Like everybody else, I've got my bias, obviously. Things I'm drawn to, things that I find interesting. I think this looks great on the off-white, right? He's choosing to have his word balloons not on white, almost going with a newsprint kind of color. So he's muted the whole thing in terms of the intensity of the white by not using it in his art. And then here, this looks still really good. I like the color palette he's using, and there seems to be like a texture on the colors too. They're not perfectly flat. And thinking about graphic design and using circles, interrupting other shapes. Cool way to bring it to a close. I don't know if I have the capacity to sit down and actually read this. It's become so busy that I don't know what to focus on. Look at this. I'm not saying it isn't good, so don't get me wrong. It's so busy for me to try and get through this that I don't want to read all these little things. That is a whole comic book page in one little spot, right? That is a 5-panel page in the space of one panel. And it's possible that Caldwell like zooms in on his device when drawing it. Maybe from his point of view, he's challenging the form, doing something that's going to stand out because it's different than everything else in the book. Maybe the enlarged format allows someone to get in there real close with their readers or their magnifying glass, and like maybe there's lots of hidden things that's really interesting. And then almost its antithesis. 9-panel grid. I do think this is cute, and I like that too. He's getting too much space. It reads clear as day. I do like these muted colors. They feel much more organic. Ryan Hughes created that logo, but here's some of the many options they tried. I do like having both, of course. This is a very large book, but it does feel slightly more compact and manageable for my bookshelf than the broadsheets do. But I'm really happy to see the work on both and to see what works in color on newsprint and what doesn't work as well in color. The simpler colors seem to be a little more successful. Being able to direct the eye with simpler choices seems to add to the reader clarity. But it's reminded me of the contributions of editors like Mark Chiarello. He was one of those guys that had really cool projects in mind, like Batman Black and White and Wednesday Comics. I think he's also the editor on Darwin Cook's New Frontier. The series Solo from DC as well. Really great stuff coming from Chiarello. Really happy to read more Azzarello and Rizzo. And I've got to read more Dave Bullock. That stuff looks great. What do you think of Wednesday Comics? Have you got a copy? Were you collecting it back in 2009? Are you going to pick one up from your local comic book store? If you like this kind of video content, please click like on the video, subscribe to the channel, throw a comment in the section below letting me know what you think of all these things. If there's something else you'd like me to look at in the future, you can also add that to your comment. For something completely different, join us Tuesday nights for our show Previously in X-Men, where we read the comics that became classic, where we started with Giant Size X-Men #1 from 1975, and we've been reading through each of the issues in chronological order from 1975, and we're up to midway through 1989. We're about to get to the first issue that Jim Lee draws shortly. And we do the voices of all the characters and we have a laugh. And that show runs live 9 o'clock on Tuesday nights, Eastern Standard Time. I've definitely taken away a few key things from reading this comic, but what about you? What have you learned from seeing Wednesday comics that I haven't mentioned yet? Please add it to the comment section below this video. Thanks for hanging out with me. I hope you've enjoyed, and I'll see you next time on Leveling Up.
Leveling up, leveling up, leveling up.